Hello everyone. Welcome to Programming in C for Beginners. I'm Amit Kumar and this is the 13th tutorial, Identifiers. Friends, in our previous tutorial, we have discussed about keywords that were one of the tokens, and now we are going to discuss about another token known as identifiers. Now, identifiers or symbols are the names we provide in a program. So they are also known as symbols. Now, identifiers are the names we, and here we represents the programmer. So identifiers are the names provided by the programmer in the program, and programmers supply these names for variables, for types, for functions, for labels, and plenty of other things. So anything that is defined by the programmer in the program are named by themselves, and these names are known as identifiers. For example, a variable name can be an identifier, a data type can be an identifier, a function name or name of a label. They all can be a valid identifier. Now, keywords cannot be used as an identifier in a program, and keep that thing in your mind because keywords are reserved words. They cannot be used for any other purpose. So all the keywords that are there cannot be used as an identifier. Now you might think that what would happen if I want to use any keyword? I want to give the name of my identifier as the same as of keywords. Then what we can do? Well, we know that C language is case sensitive. For example, if I want to create an identifier naming if, I know that if is a keyword in lowercase, so definitely I can create my identifier in uppercase or in a different case other than the keywords case. Now we should follow some set of rules to create a valid identifier. Now what are these set of rules? Identifier name can contain alphabets, digits or underscore. The first character must be an alphabet or it can be an underscore. So out of alphabets, digits or underscore, other than digits, you can start with any of the two. No symbol other than underscore can be used. Now, we cannot use any other symbol other than the underscore symbol. It should not contain any white space, even a space or tab space or a return key. So it should not contain any white space. Name of an identifier should not contain any white space. And in case if we will provide it, then definitely the compiler will treat it as two different identifiers. I will explain that thing practically, so just wait for it. Now we already studied that it should not be a keyword, so now that's an important rule. The last point to remember is it should not contain more than 31 characters. Now there is a limitation difference between external identifiers and internal identifiers, and later down the line you will actually understand what is an external identifier and what is an internal identifier. But for a while, you should remember that if we are creating an internal identifier, then at a maximum it can contain 31 characters. And in case if we are creating an external identifier, then max to max it can have 6 characters only. Now it's time to see things practically. So let's get to our desktop. Now we are here on our desktop, and if you remember, we are having a workspace file over here known as Programming in C Beginners Code workspace. So I'm going to double click on it so that I can see my projects. So it will open the Visual Studio Code IDE and it will open it in my workspace itself. So clearly you can see there are two folders over here representing two different projects, right? And this is section 1 containing one program. This is section 3 containing one program. Now I'm going to create another program in this section 3 as tutorial 13. So let me name it as tutorial 13.c. And here let me show you some valid and invalid forms of identifiers. So let me write down few code over here and then we will discuss on it. Okay, so I have created this program over here. Now few new things in this program. First of all, the main method, I have declared it as void. Now what's the advantage of declaring it as void? I need not to write down any return keyword in the program. So that's one of the advantage. Well, we will discuss that later on. Now it's time to see some valid and invalid variable forms. Now in all these lines, I am declaring variable. Now variable declaration is something that we are going to see in our upcoming videos, but we can definitely understand that we are writing few codes, few instructions over here, and this type of instruction is known as variable declaration. So in easier terms, you can say we are declaring in our program what are the different variables that we are going to use. So clearly in the first line, you can see all these variable names, variable, variable1 and variable underscore 2 are using the permittable characters, like all the alphabets are permitted, alphabets along with digits are permitted, and a special symbol underscore is allowed. So hence these three variables are totally correct. But I have commented out few lines over here. Let me show you this one. As soon as I remove the comment, you can see it's showing a problem, and we can see the problems right down there. A problems tab is there. Click on it. And clearly you can see expected a semicolon. That means compiler is unable to reach this semicolon because I have used a special character over here. And if you will see the rule, we can't use any special character other than the underscore. So this line is invalid. Now in the next line, you can see we have created two variables and it is correct. Now in these variables, the first one is starting with an alphabet. The second one is starting with an underscore, and definitely we can start with an alphabet or an underscore. Both are allowed. But if I will uncomment this line where I have started the variable name with a digit, definitely it will show an error. So this is not allowed. We cannot start with a digit. Now let's see the next two lines. Now here, if I will uncomment this line, this again turn out to be an error. Now what's the error over here? I told you we cannot use any white space, and here we are using a white space. Now this is an error. If we want to create a variable with one or more than one words, the correct way is join them with an underscore, just like we have done here earlier. Now this is not allowed. We cannot use a white space. So let me comment this out again. And let's see the last one. We have seen that we cannot use any keyword, and if is a keyword in C language. So let me uncomment this out. And as soon as I will uncomment this, it will become an error. Hence we cannot use even a keyword for a variable name. So I hope you have understood these rules, and that's all what I wanted to show you in the practical of tutorial 13. And that marks the end of this tutorial. Hope to meet you in the next video tutorial. Till then, thank you and happy programming.